You're listening to Get a Room
Ooh, spooky.
with Alana and Evan.
Wait, was that like slow, like the movie we just saw was slow?
Yeah.
Did you think, well, we were talking about this, so we just saw, what did we see?
We just saw Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, that's
in
funny.
The theaters.
That's not a spoiler, is it? That it's basically a retelling of Pinocchio?
I don't know, maybe spoiler alert.
No, I think you get that. You go into a Blade Runner movie. We saw Blade Runner 2049.
Uh-huh.
Or just Blade Runner 2, as it said on our ticket stub.
Right.
And you know that you're like, oh, ambiguity of what it means to be human. Is a robo human? Is it possible?
Right.
Which is, they don't call them robos. If you were going to use derogatory terms for robot people...
They'd be toys, right?
Yeah, you could call them toys, you could call them barcodes.
Yeah.
You call them robos. My personal favorite's robos, because I'm like, hey bro, no robo.
Yeah. Oh,
But
God.
We saw, what do they call them in the movie? The actual insulting term they call them is skin jobs.
Yeah.
Which actually does sound kind of offensive.
Didn't it say Skinner, like F.U. Skinner on his door? It wasn't Skin Job, it was Skinner.
Yeah, Skinner or skin job, because someone else calls them that.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, sorry bro, sorry I called you a skin job.
Okay.
But we saw this new Blade Runner in IMAX. What did you think about that experience? It's big.
It was fine, yeah.
It's fine.
We didn't need to see this movie in IMAX for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the next movie we go see probably will just go back to regular screens, but
yeah,
this movie was really oversold. I mean, it's got like a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, everyone's just singing its praises.
Why? I don't get it.
And I don't want to be just like contradictory, like just to be contrary for the sake of being different.
And in fact, everybody in the theater like clapped after the movie was over, and I wasn't sure if they were just like glad it was over, or if they're the same kind of people that, like, applaud when the plane lands.
That might just be part of the IMAX culture. Like, we just don't get it.
Maybe.
The last movie I saw on IMAX was Harry Potter 8. Harry Potter 7 Part 2.
The last one I saw on IMAX was Avatar.
Yes, that's been a while for both of us.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just how people do it now.
Maybe. I don't know. Seemed like they were really into it.
This movie make a 5-star?
No, it make a 2-star.
I'd say this movie make a 3-star.
Okay, so we'll talk 2.5. How about that?
I think it's. I mean, they obviously put a lot of work into this, and especially.
Did they though? I mean, it was all green screen, and like there was nothing original to it.
I was thinking about the originality stuff, that it does take about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes into the movie before I start to see something that I was like, okay, this is not just something I've seen in some other Philip K. Dick or adaptation or a Matrix or some anime. But to be charitable, like when they started doing the Memory Maker machine, which is like this sort of Sony electronic accordion device, I was like,
it was just a camera.
It's a fairly novel approach to a camera that makes memories.
Okay.
It's a new twist because, it's like implanted memories. Just that idea. I've been seeing that since like Wolverine comics when I was a kid.
Right.
But this was a nice twist on how they make the implanted memories. So I like that. And then the love making scene, I thought it's not entirely original. I mean, this is like a variation on what happens in the movie Her with Scarlett Johansson, but it still is a new twist on that kind of idea of an AI using a human body as a host for, love making to some person that she actually cares for.
And like, didn't they do that in Ghost? Like in
the
80s or whatever?
Yeah, that's right. They do that in Ghost. But the technological achievement of how they do it here, it definitely took some work.
It's the same as in Ghost.
I think they used more computers this time.
Yeah, and they didn't have to. They could have just like done like overlays of film.
So you had a big criticism of just like, what, again, too much reliance on CGI, all that stuff?
Too much reliance on CGI, and just like, it just, I don't know, it just didn't look good. It was just so dark, and although it did start to look interesting when he went to find Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm. Which you see in the trailer, like you see the scenes of like super orange.
Have we gotten into any spoilers?
Well, I still want to say, before we get to like plot notes, that the one thing that confused me was the action. Like, it just seemed like all the action took longer than it needed to.
Yeah, but well, how long is the movie?
Like 2 hours, 44 minutes.
2 hours and 44 minutes, and I would say that they probably could have done it in an hour and maybe 40 minutes.
Probably. I mean, with the action, like, I don't know why all the robos react the way they do. Maybe that's part of being a robo, is they just handle, like, violence in a different way. But it always seemed unnecessarily extended. I was like, why don't you just... I know you can kill someone faster than that. Why don't you just kill them faster than that?
Well, and also, like, what's wrong with the operating system that they don't just do what they're supposed to? Like...
Well, the confusing thing there is, like, he goes to a building at one point that's, like, supposedly Earth headquarters, and that's the mega corporation that, like, builds all the robos and sends them off to other worlds for, like, colony slave work.
Right, to the 9 worlds.
Yeah, to the 9 worlds. But there's also the police, and apparently the police are a separate organization, and then there's also, like, the Guild of Assassin Prostitutes, and, like, that's also a separate organization, so how much of a mega corporation is it if, like, there's still all these... It's the same problem I actually had with Jupiter Ascending, where it's theoretically like, okay, there's this one group, they're in charge of everything, except there's actually a bunch of exceptions.
Yeah.
Spoilers?
Let's see, is there anything else that we can talk about? Oh, well, okay, so I just didn't think that the futuristic world looked any different than anybody else's adaptation of what the futuristic world looked like. It was grim, it was dark, it was dirty, it was nasty.
Yeah.
There was no vegetation. The Sony screens were big, the buildings were imposing, and I mean, really just nothing looked interesting.
Yeah, I think of these sort of, like, dirty, super hologram-filled cities. I mean, I don't even think this is the best version we've seen this year. It's like neck and neck with Ghost in the Shell, and I would almost give the edge to Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell definitely looked prettier. Mm-hmm. The movie, like, I think the lighting was better, the cinematography was better. There was just more detail put into what colors were going to be used, and with this, I don't think that was even a thought until you get to the scenes where they're looking for Harrison Ford, and then at that point, it was kind of just like a very, like, plain canvas of colors. Like, They were just like, okay, everything's going to be a gold sand orange.
Soundtrack-wise, I think it was fairly good, but honestly, IMAX presentation, the movie could be 40 or 50 decibels quieter, and I'd be okay with it. I think we're approaching, like, permanent hearing loss volume with this movie, with the IMAX presentation.
Yeah.
So it's like that super synth sort of evangelist thing that was in the first Blade Runner from the 80s. And then the other big musical cue they keep reusing is, was it Prokofiev or Prokofiev? I forget. But the composer who wrote Peter and the Wolf. Uh-huh. There's this just one musical cue from Peter and the Wolf that they reuse throughout the film.
Was that his phone?
Yeah, it's his, like, ringtone.
Yeah.
So it's like this neat sort of, like, well, it's a great piece of music, but it's also maybe thematically connected, but who's Peter, who's the wolf, who's the cat, who's the oboe, who's the bassoon, I don't know.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Spoilers! Let's spoil it.
All right.
So speaking of themes, is Ryan Gosling the Blade Runner in this movie? Is he Peter? Is he the wolf? Is he a sheep? Is he the chosen one?
No.
Is he just a soldier?
Apparently, he's just a soldier.
Is that where the greatest honor comes from, is knowing that you're just a cog in the system and playing your part?
So that's one of the things that I did not like about this movie. They lead you to get kind of emotionally attached to the idea of him finding out that he's a real boy. Not like a real boy, but, you know, that he's the Pinocchio, that he's the machine that got given birth to, you know? And he's got this memory that was planted in him. And then he goes to find out that's not actually his memory. But he's led to believe it is until almost the end of the movie. And then you're just like, what? It's just such a letdown.
Well, I never believed it. Like, it's immediately clear, like, second, third scene in the movie. It's very early on where you're just like, oh, I get it. Like, the Robos are having babies, and he's the baby, and Harrison Ford's his dad. But if it's that obvious, then it's not that. Clearly, and they give you all the information like, oh, there was a boy and a girl, and...
So you knew it was the girl that makes the memories?
Well, I didn't know that. I mean, well, they even tell you that. They broadcast that before. Like, if they had just waited till the last scene to show up there, that would have been a bit more of a twist. Mm-hmm. But they tell you because, like, when he gets attacked in Vegas and then wakes up, he has that thing where it's like he remembers the memory maker saying every artist puts a little bit of themselves in their creation.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, hits you over the head with it. She's the daughter of Harrison Ford, who's a robo having babies.
Yeah.
Which, the Harrison Ford thing, this is now the third franchise where Harrison Ford has been brought back to the franchise after decades of being absent, and he's an absentee father. Yeah. Indiana Jones 4, absentee father. Star Wars 7, absentee father. Blade Runner 2, absentee father.
So he's not going to get a Father's Day card.
All I want to know is there a Jack Ryan movie coming up where he plays an absentee father? The twist here, he's an absentee father to a young girl. Uh-huh. It's not Shia LaBeouf or Kylo Ren. It's this girl who's got the Sony memory maker accordion machine.
Yeah.
Which, again, is another part that's like, so they cover up, like, the identity of his daughter so that she can't be used by the corporation to make more robo babies or whatever. Uh-huh. But she, I guess, has her own business, but she's also employed by the mega corporation to implant all the memories, like all the authentic robo memories into all the How hard would it be to just figure out, you know what? I bet she's a robo baby. Yeah. Like, why does she have these skills? Robo baby.
Robo baby.
Like, it's not a big mystery. I mean, it's like, that's always tough to do in any of these movies that are about a panopticon society where it's like we assume all information, all data is collected. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, to make it plausible that there are secrets, but whatever. Final stuff we want to talk on. Any comments on the female representation in this movie?
I don't know. It was just typical bull, It was like they're either hookers or they're like bad at fighting.
What about the boss cop?
She ended up not being able to win at the end, right?
Well, she got killed by a robo, but it was a girl robo.
What?
Yeah, the boss cop, his boss.
Oh, his boss. I thought you meant the actual boss.
Oh, Jared Leto?
No, the girl.
Oh, Rachel?
Yeah. No, okay. What? No, the one that, like, he ended up choking out at the end. Oh, well, she's the boss.
Oh, well, okay, you mean boss as in, like, she's tough.
Like, she's the number one angel or whatever.
Yeah. But, angels are like lieutenants to the Lord.
Well, whatever.
So, that's the boss is... Okay, all right.
She, like, out of all of them, she's the boss. Like, she came onto every scene and commanded it. Like...
She definitely did. I thought she gave a great performance. Yeah. The actress.
Yeah, the actress did. But, I don't know. It was just it was definitely a man movie. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a white man movie made for white people.
White people? Okay. Oh my gosh. I can't really recommend it.
I can't
It's either. Fine. I mean, I've never been a super big fan of the original Blade Runner anyway.
Oh, really?
But it's neat. I mean, aesthetically... Obviously, the 80s version is going to be better. Aesthetically, it's just like, it's on film, it's a masterpiece of, like, neo-futuristic, dystopian sci-fi design. This one, fine work, can't really, it cost us $34 to go see it in IMAX before the snacks.
I want that money back.
Yeah, we could have gone...
I wish I knew that.
Yeah, we could have gone a little lower on that, I think, but...
Well, if you guys are listening and you haven't seen it yet, don't spend $34 to see it. And maybe just wait till it's on your Hulu. What do you say? Should we tell them all to...
Get a room.